I'm very impressed with the turnout and the spirit of the night. And we want to get to the more formal bit of things before we head into the entertainment. By the way, what an tena. I was hugged by Catherine Kasabuni. Just now. Catherine, you know me, I say some uncomfortable truths. Every man in here, from when he was small, has been in love with you. Everything, mutu moja simama ukane. Uchekwe. I'd like to thank the partners who have made this night possible. This is Safaricom Limited, the East African Intercontinental Hotel for this beautiful venue, Homeboys Radio and Homeboys DJ who are livening up the event, Mr. Wachira Waruru for agreeing to come and be our chief guest and educate us tonight. And I'd like to thank all of you for being here, because if you weren't here, there'd be no event to speak of. Really? Let's all give ourselves a big round of applause. At this point, I'd like to invite the CEO of Marketing Africa, Mr. William Kalombo, to say a few words. And it's a few words, eh?
You are all welcome, and please use this occasion to cement relationships. Enjoy.
Next, I'd like to call upon a good friend of mine and a supermarketer, Mr. Frank Maina, to say a few words about Marketing Africa. Because Mr. Kalombo. Okay. Okay, I said.
It's very hard to say anything negative about Marketing Africa because Kalombo is my friend. So you may be advised to take everything with a pinch of truth. However, the reason Kalombo has asked me to stand here is because in the last 1 month, I have been given a new responsibility, which has been to spell check Marketing Africa magazine. I know I haven't done a very good job as far as that is concerned. Keep me honest with my Zulu web so often. But I would like to ask you to all send in your articles, send in your suggestions, keep us as good as we'd like to be, and as usual, as always, educate us about the issues in marketing that as often as you have, or as you will, and as often as you can. Thank you very much and enjoy your evening.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My job is very, very simple. I'm going to introduce a very good friend of mine who is going to talk to you tonight. He is very close to me, and therefore I'll not be able to say anything negative about him. But the rest, he will tell you himself. My friend, Wachira Waruru, I have to call him Wachira Waruru now because I never call him by those names. We have a special name that we normally call him when we are together. The reason why Wachira is talking to you tonight is because, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other people in this hall, he is the best and the most qualified to do so. So please listen to him very carefully for whatever he's going to say. He is today the best known name in the media industry because of some of the things that he has done in the last 5 years. His reputation leads. Waruru started working in the media industry as a political analyst way back, almost 20 years ago, with the then prime weekly publication, The Weekly Review. After that, he became the editorial director of the Standard Group and made tremendous changes at KTN at that time. Waruru has always tried to change things whenever he enters into an environment. But the most celebrated change that Waruru actually carried out was between 2003 and 2006, when he was appointed the chief executive of the national broadcaster, KBC. All of you can remember when KBC was KBC before then and after Waruru got into that place. The reason why Waruru did that is because he's a strange man. He thinks outside the box. He uses brains to do things which he cannot do. He's not afraid of clever people. A lot of managers don't like people who are better than them. But Waruru will get the best and make them do the job, and he takes credit. And that, to me, is intelligence. Right now, after Waruru had a stint of 3 years at the KBC, all of you understand how he left KBC. It was fairly controversial. He never leaves quietly. He leaves with a lot of noise, so that when he goes there, something has to happen again so that he carries on with the tradition. And the tradition that he took over to Royal Media, all of you can now understand. If you doubt what I'm saying, refer to Stedman and Associates. They will give you the figures, because that's what they have. Now, finally, just the other day, when Kenya government saw the light and decided to give power to the media by forming the media council, Waruru was unanimously elected chairman of the Media Council of Kenya by all media houses. Why don't you clap for him? How many of you have succeeded in that? And that's why I was trying to tell you from the beginning that this is the guy, the best one to talk to you tonight, because he has done everything right all his life. Mr. Waruru, please come over and talk to your audience.
The topic I've been asked to discuss today is about marketing in a fast-changing broadcasting environment. And the angle I'm going to take requires that I lump broadcasters and marketers together. I am lumping us together because despite all the good work that we are doing, there's a debate going on right now, rather quietly, that puts both marketers and broadcasters on the spot together. The debate arises from the theory as so elitist and out of touch with reality that we are actually completely out of touch with the audiences that we purport to be reaching. The theory is that if we don't wake up to reality, we will wake up one day and realize that we have become irrelevant. In other words, we are being accused of having missed the plot in many areas. That is a rather extreme view, and it's easy to dismiss. And I know that many of us have heard this said before, both as broadcasters and marketers, and we tend to brush it aside. But I don't think we can brush it aside any longer. And what I'm going to discuss today is, why are we being so accused? To what extent is it true? Are we really that elitist, out of touch with reality? And the business history is full of examples of industries or companies that ignored reality or what they consider to be fringe activities and lived to regret it. We've heard about how IBM ignored a small company called Microsoft. The rest is history. We've heard about how big airlines in Europe ignored the budget airlines. The rest is also history. You know about airlines like Ryanair and everything else. They've changed the aviation industry in Europe. And here in this country, people talk about how the mainstream banking industry sneered at a small bank somewhere called Equity Bank. There are many other similar examples which I'm sure you all know. So, in particular, the accusation is that the content that we broadcasters put on air is misguided, and that the amount of money that you marketers put into this content is also misguided and ultimately wasteful. The proponents of this argument will say that the people in this room don't achieve what they are out to achieve, and that what we achieve is only a tip of the iceberg of the potential that exists in this country. So for us to understand where this is coming from, I'll give you a few scenarios that might explain the genesis of this reasoning, and we take it from there and see whether indeed these accusations are correct. Let us begin with the TV industry. On one level, it's all about how we allow our screens to be dominated by foreign content at the expense of local content. And there are warning bells. There are some warning bells somewhere that there are other developments taking place in our society that place our industry at great risk. And when I talk about local TV content, I'm not talking about the news, I'm not talking about talk shows or art programs or documentaries. I'm talking about entertainment programs. I'm talking about comedies, dramas, soap operas, and movies. This entertainment component of our broadcasting constitutes the bulk of our airtime. Yet 95% of our entertainment programs are foreign, mostly American and Mexican content. In fact, every year, the Kenyan TV industry collectively launches or introduces about 25 new foreign programs into the market every year. In comparison, the industry introduces one local TV program every 3 years. In fact, as we speak today, and I'm not here to criticize anybody, I'm talking as an industry person, 2 of our major TV stations, that is KTN and NTV, do not have a single local program acted by Kenyans. Not one. May I have your attention, please? NTV had Cobra Squad, which is now not on air. NTV had Wingu la Moto, a very, very popular program. KTN had Better Days, a very popular program, a local program, but they don't have a single local program acted by Kenyans today. Mind you, there's nothing wrong with foreign programs. We have the highest possible quality of foreign programs in our menu. In fact, we have the best that Hollywood has to offer. But these are mostly American stories, developed within an American social context. They tell American stories. The American sitcoms and comedies we have on air, including on our station, are about Americans laughing about themselves. So what does it mean? Does it mean that we have no stories of our own to tell? Does it mean that our lives, people in this room, are so boring that no stories can be written about us? And why are we in this situation? Despite the fact that research after research shows the popularity of local content, we broadcasters have continued to give excuses for why our TV screens are dominated by foreign content. At one level, it's all about business. Foreign programs are many more times cheaper than local programs, which is true. An average American soap opera or American sitcom will cost an average of $300 for a half-hour episode. That's about 20,000 shillings. And this is possible because the economies of scale. These are programs that are sold to thousands of television stations around the world. So they can afford to sell them at that price. Not to mention that the programs we sell are often 5 years old. However, whereas it will cost us 20,000 shillings or 30,000 shillings to import a foreign program, take it off the shelf, an average good quality local program will cost us 300,000 shillings. So if I buy a Mexican soap for 30,000 shillings, and the market, I think there are no secrets about rates here, the sponsorship for that program will be between 300 and 400,000 shillings for that half hour. That's how much you'll pay me to sponsor a half-hour sitcom. So out of that half hour, I, the broadcaster, will make a clean 380,000 shillings, which is good. It's business. After all, our sales staff meet their targets, they get their commissions, the management looks good before the board, and we all announce nice profits at our AGM. In any case, who's complaining? Mexican soaps are popular. So as you can see, the main reason we give for this state of affairs is a business reason. Very straightforward. It is cheaper and more profitable to have foreign content. But is that the only reason? And this brings me to the earlier remark and the accusation that this is not so much a business problem, but a social problem. That we, the marketers and broadcasters, live in a world of our own, that we choose content based on our own elitist tastes, our own snob values. that we choose programs for ourselves and not for the wider public. And some people have said, and I'm saying the proponents of this theory, that this is actually part of an unconscious middle-class conspiracy. And if you look at the history of television in this country, and this is the theory, the conspiracy, is that the people at KTN and NTV and at Citizen TV who are in charge of programs, who make programming decisions, are very sophisticated middle-class Kenyans. And the people who make advertising decisions in the corporate world, such as those here today, are equally sophisticated middle-class Kenyans. And the same applies to those people who work in ad agencies. And so the theory says, these are all people who have very little contact with the ordinary Kenyan. And these are the people who make these decisions. There are some people who would like to point out that many of the people in these positions tend to be ladies, not in a derogatory manner, but I don't know if that is important, but also happens to be quite true. So what's the background to this? Let's go back to the earlier days when KTN came on air, ending the monopoly of KBC. I think that was in 1990. KTN was the first private TV station in Kenya. And they made a very good business decision to go up market because KBC was a very mwananchi station. So they went and said, let's introduce some class to TV. And remember, they used to say, KTN changes your life. It was a strategy that worked. It has worked well for KTN to this day. Sophisticated, upmarket TV station. So when KTN took the lead, everyone else followed. Even KBC tried to chase KTN. When NTV came into the market, they went the same way. Sophisticated, upmarket, foreign content. It's Citizen TV. We all followed the same formula. An American sitcom at 7:30, a drama at 8, and something else at 9:30. And all this has something very much to do with how TV programs are acquired. The main forum where TV programs are bought is an event called the MIP TV. It's a huge market. It's held in Cannes, in the south of France. It's a massive market. It brings together all TV producers, all middlemen. The whole world meets in Cannes once a week. In fact, they're meeting next month. And all the buying and selling for the year takes place there. Now, you've all heard about Cannes. Cannes is in the south of France. It's famous for the Cannes Film Festival. The whole of Hollywood descends on Cannes. And the location is deliberate because it's a very sophisticated environment. So if you're going to send somebody to buy you programs in Cannes, you have to send someone sophisticated. You need to send someone who can hobnob, and negotiate with those trendsetters in the south of France. And what they do, because they're competing for business, they compete with each other for clientele. So for that whole week that Cannes is on, there are cocktails and dinners and all sorts of things and gifts throughout the week. So of course you have to send someone who knows how to behave at a cocktail. I went there once when I was at KBC. I thought I might want to see what happens. And one of the biggest companies there, WWF, those are the guys who provide wrestling, is huge all over the world. And they go out of their way to be special. And on that occasion, their cocktail was on a yacht on the French Riviera. And there I was, mixing with very many, very glamorous human beings. And you can't send someone on a yacht on the French Riviera who only knows about Fanta and Tusker. You need someone who knows how to break a lobster. And not only break it, know what to eat and what to leave. Now, given that profile of that individual, what is that person likely to buy when they go to the market? The answer is in our programming schedule. If you look up at our programming schedules in the newspaper and then search the internet, you will find that Kenyan TV has a lot of programs that are in the top 10 on US television. We are very much up to date with the US market, and we have some of the best quality programs globally on our TV. From that point of view, as far as foreign content is concerned, we compete with the best. So when that person comes back from the south of France with the hottest program in the world, what happens? They meet the marketing manager, the other sophisticated person who's very happy to see this program. The agency person, the person who works in the aid agency, equally sophisticated, knows about this program. They see it, they've heard about it. And this program gets instant sponsorship. They will see, these people are sophisticated, I said. They'll discuss this over a cappuccino at Java. And this is what is referred to as the middle class conspiracy. That is why, according to this conspiracy, that a program like Desperate Housewives will get sponsorship long before it goes on air. But a local program takes months to get sponsorship. That is despite the fact that Stedman after Stedman after Stedman shows the local programs are the most popular. The ad agency will tell you, yeah, we need to see the ratings first. What is your target audience? And when you push very hard, you're told, okay, if you insist. What does this all mean? We are taking programming that is popular and successful in mainstream America, that is on prime time in mainstream America, and putting it on prime time in Kenya. In other words, are we saying, therefore, that the audiences in San Francisco, in Boston, in Atlanta at prime time are the same as the guys in Kakamega, Naivasha, Machakos, Nyeri? We are giving them the same menu at prime time. Yet, you know, access to TV has grown so much in this country. Even the very low-income people have got TVs. If you go to any of these heavily populated, supposedly low-income areas, Githurai, Mulolongo, Kawangware, what do they all have in common? Their roofs are full of TV aerials, hundreds of TV aerials, which means these people are watching TV. Yet these are the people we are giving heavy doses of American comedies. How do they relate to it? When somebody is making a joke about the ingredients of a pizza. I remember once, I think it was a mid-morning, just trying to illustrate how disconnected foreign content can be. Citizen TV was showing an entertainment program. I think it was a roundup of the entertainment world. That was last year. That is a week that Pavarotti had died. I'm sure many of you know who that is, an opera singer. He had died, so there was a feature on Citizen, a daytime during the day, from a foreign content on Pavarotti. And I got a call from my brother, deep in the village, and he was telling me he was sitting in a small village joint, and there was a TV, and they were watching Citizen, and there was this Pavarotti thing. I don't know how those people sing, they hold a note for very long, and there was some guy sitting behind him, and he was listening to their conversation. And as Pavarotti was belting away, the guy asked his friend, "What's wrong with that man?" And the guy said, "I don't know, he looks like he's crying." His friend said, "No, but he looks like he's in pain. What does he just throw up once and for all?" And that illustrated to me the extent to which we are out of touch. Why was I showing Pavarotti on our screen? And this is not just about the low-income people. People can act sophisticated sometimes, but they're not necessarily in touch with what's happening in the United States and other places. I think it was 2 years ago or last year, I'm not sure, when the US Vice President Dick Cheney shot somebody. By mistake, we went hunting and he shot an old man, a lawyer. And in that year, during the Oscars, I was sitting in an upmarket outfit in Westlands with very sophisticated people, and the Oscars were showing. And the host for the Oscars was making jokes about Dick Cheney having shot that old man. And he went on, and the crowd in Hollywood was laughing their heads off. And the guys in this bar were all quiet. They didn't get it. Yet these are all sophisticated types. But they could not relate with the Dick Cheney joke. Excuse me. But we may ask as an industry, so what? So what if some guys in Githurai don't understand American jokes? So what if some fellows in Wachira's village never heard of Pavarotti and thought he was sick? After all, we're in the business of making money. And our balance sheet, our books look good, our bottom line is good. So if it's not broken, why fix it? And that is where the problem lies. It may not be broken, but somewhere there's some cracks beginning to appear. And if you look very closely, you might see these cracks. These cracks are rising from the digital revolution. The digital revolution has dramatically increased access to media and given the population more choices. Let me explain. How much does a DVD player cost at Nakumatt? 3,000? 3,000. Which means that a stolen one is 1,000. What does a digital camera cost at Ibrahim's? 10,000. High quality digital camera. So a stolen one, you see, 3,000, 4,000 bob, you get a digital camera. And we know that there are very many cheap laptops in the market and even more stolen laptops in the market. So what does this mean? It means that thousands upon thousands of people in what you consider to be low-income areas have a DVD player. The local pubs, you will not find a pub anywhere unless that there's power that does not have small TV and a DVD player. And as this is happening, the backstreet filmmakers are producing films at a rate you can't imagine. These are movies that are being done, what we are calling backstreet, unfortunately. They are taking that cheap camcorder, they are shooting, there's a laptop, you edit, you burn it, and you have a VCD. Or you do a music video. These VCDs cost 100 bob. It's acted, it's a program, it's a comedy, it's local. It can be in vernacular, it can be in Kiswahili. Those who don't know about this industry better believe it. It's a massive, massive industry. It's very elaborate and very efficient. There are two companies in Riverwood. One is called Duty One Stop. Whatever that means. There's another one called Shalom. Some people have a Shalom. And these people are taking out and churning out VCDs at a shocking rate. They're all comedy. People sit in a room and just start talking. But they're talking in Kikuyu, they're talking in Luo, they're talking in other languages. They're hugely, hugely entertaining. There's even a very elaborate transport system. Those things come out of Duty One Stop onto Molo Line, and they spread out very quickly. Because of the low cost, the 100 shillings, there's very little piracy. And you know that is the Nigerian model. Make it cheap, let it flow quickly, why pirate? This is what is being called Riverwood in this country. The new Riverwood, of course, taken from Hollywood. It is a very big industry. What I can tell you for sure, that the majority of rural bars and joints, or let me say very many and increasingly so, are using these VCDs as their main menu of entertainment. In fact, in many of these areas, in this growing trend, these VCDs are on throughout. It can be a comedy, it can be a musician, it can be anything out of those things, and usually interrupted just for the 7 o'clock Kiswahili news. They watch the news, and the VCD is back in. Or for the local programs on KBC or Citizen. This trend is taking over in many homes as well. And the quality keeps improving. We can't laugh at their quality. What was produced a year ago is not what's coming out now. Before, there were sound issues. You couldn't hear some people clearly. Now they've worked on the sound. The sound is good. The lighting is good. The directing is getting better. So as we in Nairobi, the broadcast and marketers, are gleefully rubbing our hands at our bottom lines, there's a revolution taking place right under our feet. This is a revolution by ordinary Kenyans who are taking control of their own entertainment. They're taking control of their own entertainment because the mainstream media, we, the broadcasters, have disenfranchised them. We have ignored them. We are giving them American content, which they can't relate to. Now, they watch their own people. They watch their own musicians. They watch their own comedy. And the strange thing is, they repeat it over and over and over again. And now there's such a wide range and collection of this content. And because we, the people in this room and in my industry, never go beyond Tomboya Street, we have no idea that this is going on. The truth is, and this is a very serious matter, there's an exodus of viewers from the mainstream broadcasters. So if there's an exodus now, what will be happening 5 years from now? Are we going to wake up one morning and realize that our audiences went away long ago? But if you think that this exodus affects only, or rather the exodus from the main broadcasters is affecting only the low-income viewers through cheap VCDs, you are wrong. Because those other viewers, those more sophisticated viewers in our society, who I think are the minority, but they are there, who understand American content, who find those jokes funny, who enjoy the American dramas, they are also under threat. And the threat is coming from different areas. One is the satellite TV industry. DSTV and GTV are engaged in a major price war. And what they've done, they are dramatically increasing the access of more Kenyans to pay TV. Easy Pay, which is the new package by DSTV, is now costing 200 bob a month. 200 shillings a month to have DSTV in your house. What does this mean? What does this mean? It means that the people who are otherwise relying entirely on local broadcasters now have access to DSTV. And do you think that GTV will just sit back and allow DSTV to run away with it? Of course not. They will also get involved in the price war. And in a very, very short time, these services will be available very widely. It's the same thing that happened with mobile phones. At the very beginning, they held out and got all the money for the people who had the money. When they exhausted that market, they started going down, down, down. And everybody has a mobile phone now. So a time will soon come that this satellite TV will be available in homes that would never have dreamt about it. The question is, what is the content on GTV and DSTV? It's the same content, the same American programs we're showing in the broadcast media. So when Citizen TV is showing season 3 of Sunset Beach, GTV is showing season 8. But DSTV and GTV are not the only people who are stealing those audiences from us. We go outside Nakumat, you find a guy there selling VCDs. This guy, on one hand, he's selling you a whole season of Desperate Housewives, and on the other hand, he's selling you a dog. We're talking about access. These things are getting readily available. Yet we, the mainstream broadcasters, are continuing to insist on foreign content. This revolution is a revolution we've allowed to happen. The problem is, we can't stop it now. It's too late. We cannot stop this revolution. In my view, the only way is to join it. We have to find ways of mainstreaming Riverwood. Bring it into the mainstream broadcasters. Why can't I show a Luo movie on Citizen TV with English subtitles? All we need to do is to have faith. Join the revolution, join the masses. invest some money into their quality, work on the sound, work on their picture quality, and bring them on board. That's the way forward. That's the future of TV, if you ask me, if you want to communicate to Kenyans. But as I say I want to do that, is a marketing community willing to walk that road? Will you walk with me to Riverwood, to Nduti one stop? Or will you ask me the normal stock questions about the target audience? The message here, serious message, is that to an extent, we have failed as broadcasters to focus on content that connects with our people. And to an extent, marketers have also failed, and the way marketers have failed is they're too passive. The marketer waits for me, the broadcaster, to show them my program lineup, and they pick, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. Which is fine to an extent, but the time is quickly coming where the marketers have to be proactive and demand to have a say in content. I want the marketer to come to me and ask me, what do you have in the next quarter? I want to know whether it fits my profile. I want to know whether you have something that can relate to my audiences. You need to be proactive and own program. You have to start investing in content. We broadcasters have made a lot of money over the years through foreign content, but have not been investing it back into local content. And as the questions I've asked here today mean that as we go forward, the marketer has to start asking themselves, what do I want to be on air 3 years from now? And you have to start owning products and be involved in the development of content based on research on the realities on the ground. Of course, this is already happening. There are several corporates who have done this. We have Tusker Project Fame, owned by Tusker. I think we have Celtel Challenge, it's a continental, which is a quiz show on NTV, another great effort. But I think some of you will agree with me that one of the most memorable programs on Kenyan TV was owned by somebody, Omo Pickerbox. But why don't we get those things happening anymore? What happened to the marketers who used to think like that? Omo Pickerbox was a Mwananchi program. The programs we have now that are owned by marketers, which is very welcome, tend also to be a bit upmarket, a bit elitist. We need to go back to those days if we are going to save ourselves from that revolution I told you is about to bury us. So that's my view on TV. We join the revolution or be buried by it. And I'll now talk very briefly about radio, which also suffers. Radio also suffers from the same general social problem, the elitism, the snob factor in the broadcasting and marketing environment. The difference in radio is that radio is a lot more, has got a very wider scope of content. We have the most sophisticated stations that sound very almost foreign, where mother tongue interference is not allowed. And there's nothing wrong with that. They have their audiences and they're very popular. And we have the other range where we have the vernacular stations and the Kiswahili stations. Yet despite research after research showing that the Kiswahili and vernacular services draw in and have the biggest audiences in the country, the marketers are still reluctant to put their money in them. The same old story that the marketers and advertisers put their money in the stations that they listen to themselves, not where the audiences are. That the marketers, the people in this room, consider Kiswahili and vernacular to be down market, products of low prestige. How do you advertise in a station whose name you can't even pronounce. Therefore, whereas market research shows, and this is the latest from Stedman, that the weekly reach of vernacular stations is 68%, they get less than 17% of the total advertising budget. So, yet, again, we are losing the plot here. So if you think that these vernacular stations have funny names and there are too many anyway, then think again. Because that radio industry is also getting increasingly fragmented as well. We are now moving not from vernacular, which is like a tribal station, but to community stations. They are serving neighborhoods. There's a very popular one in Voi, in Taita language, which actually just covers like Voi town. It's very local, it's very cozy. You hear your tailor being mentioned. You hear your barman. And even the barmaid can send you salams. So, if the marketers do not pay attention to these trends, we run a very high risk. I'll give you a good example what this fragmentation means. The Royal Media Group, as you know, has got many vernacular stations, one of which is called Mulembe FM. It has its fans, as you can see. Mulembe is a Luya language station. But we've been having issues with it. Because we are told the dialect is not right for some people. The Luyas have many dialects. And the biggest communities within the Luya, from what I'm told, the Bukusu and the Maragoli. And the language you use in Mulembe is called Wanga, which is, I understand, I'm told, the language of the Bible. So it's assumed that everybody has a general feel of what that language means. But the Bukusu don't feel it's theirs, the Maragolis don't feel it's theirs. So what have we done? Royal Media is about to launch Mulembe Bukusu. We are also about to launch Mulembe Maragoli. I don't know that Elena, is Elena here? She may be able to tell me. Huh? Elena, we started with Bukusu, isn't it? Yes, Bukusu we started, eh? Yes. So the Bukusus among you, please, we are on. So that is only the beginning, and the fragmentation will continue. So if that's what we are doing now, if I've got Mulembe Bukusu and Mulembe Maragoli, where will I be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And are the marketers paying attention to these trends? You can only ignore these trends at your own peril. For me, the biggest example of disconnect between the marketing world and reality is those so-called ethnic or cultural nights that take place at Carnival. The marketers in this room, when we ask them for advertising for the vernacular stations, they don't want to. They think vernaculars are, as I said, down market, low esteem. But what do you see when you go to Mugithi night, Kililimbi night, Ramogi night, Mulembe night? Who goes there? Is it villagers in bicycles? On each of these nights, cars are parked all the way to Uchumi. Very big cars. And how do these people spend their money when they're inside Carnival? They spend a lot of money. They buy whiskey by the bottle. This is a cream of society. And they're not just attending an event. They're feeling good about it. They're enjoying themselves thoroughly and are in very high spirits. Isn't this a captive market? Where else do you see distinguished executives, throwing all caution to the wind, jumping on tables, and singing along. Yet, guess what? The majority of these events are not sponsored. The majority, I said, are not sponsored. In fact, I remember the last one I went to was the Ramogil night last year. The place was packed to capacity. There was a fantastic atmosphere in the air. And I don't think I've ever witnessed a moment as electrifying as when Tony Nyadundo hit the stage. That's the point at which my Luo friends abandoned me. Mulembe night is no different. Yet, and I sat there in this electrifying atmosphere. The place was empty. There was no branding. Nobody owned that event. No marketer had thought that perhaps there's a market here for me. When I asked our market people, they said they were not very interested. One of the very few corporates that has seen that gap is Safaricom. The message is, broadcasters and marketers have to wake up and smell the coffee. We have no choice but to support local content because that is the future of broadcasting. If you say he's talking too much, what has he done? At Raw Media, we're trying our best. We have Papa Shirandula. We have Mwala, we have Tahidi High. And these programs arise from a realization or acknowledgement of this reality. And there are many more in the pipeline. So if we do not develop our own, we are going to be wiped out by this revolution. Let us support our local content. Thank you very much.
Just a few, 5 or 6 questions. Anybody with a question?
My question is really about, basically about the content that you give us. And what you say that the cost of getting foreign production and getting foreign content and the cost of local production. That somehow I'll try to understand, but from where I come from and from my thinking, I feel that what are you doing from your industry to try and lower the cost so that us as Kenyans can be able to get local production at a cost that we can be able to afford and at the content that we want. So what are you doing about it?
Compared
You're next.
to importing a foreign program for 30,000 shillings. Relative to that, it seemed expensive. But is it really expensive? What does it cost to put one page, full page color advert in the Daily Nation? It costs you 400,000 bob. So I don't think that is really the issue. What I think we need to do is have the attitude and say 300,000 is worth it. Because a lot of this money is going to pay the actors. We're trying to pay the actors better. We're trying to get better locations. We want to hire better locations. We want to use better equipment. We want to hire things that help us enhance our quality. So we should not try to reduce the cost, because that cost gives us quality. What we need to have is have faith, so that we don't cry about 300,000. In fact, we should spend more to give Kenyans better quality local production.
My question is about local productions. In as much as you're throwing it back at us as marketers, I also want to throw it back at you because the quality of local productions is not quite where it should be. If you look at probably the level of fast, okay, I wouldn't even blame most of the actors. I'd say most of the production itself, yeah, and the storylines. Some tend to be quite weak. And maybe that's why marketers tend to go to foreign productions. What are you people doing to improve on the quality of production?
When we talk about quality, the question is, have you watched those Nigerian movies? Some of them, you can't even hear what the people are saying. But the Nigerian industry is hugely successful. The Nigerian industry is successful because they produce content for the average Nigerian. So I agree with you. We are investing, as I said, at least in our station. We are producing content, we are paying for it. All you need now is your support to get even better quality. Thanks.
I feel that I have a question for markets in Africa. As much as I'm here tonight, I would want to interact with, if not 50%, 40% of everybody. Is it possible that you could have more of a cocktail dinner or a cocktail function more than a sit down?
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we've had is to get people to network. It has given us a headache for a long time. In some occasions, people come in and they tell them it's free sitting, and you find a whole table of 10 people from one company. So we try to break that by numbering the tickets. People came in and gave serious complaints. Oh, I came in with my wife, I cannot sit separate from her, she might complain. So for Marketers Forum, which is purely a learning occasion, where we learn from various experiences from our keynote speakers, unless you give us a really out-of-the-box advice, we don't know what to do. However, we have other forums that we are going to roll out that are purely cocktails. So if you have weak legs, I'll ask you to start going to the gym now so that you can withstand the 5 hours of cocktailing. Thank you very much.
Now, here is the task. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? DJ, pump me up kidogo. Niongeze volume. Niongeze mimi. May I have your attention, please? Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Lend me your your ears. Here is an advertising brief for the task you have before you. It's Brand X, and it's a bus company. The product is a new bus company yet to be launched. It's a new bus company yet to be launched. This bus company is going to ply all major long-distance routes in East Africa. This bus company is going to ply all major long-distance routes in East Africa. This is an advertising brief, so these details are very important. This bus company has the latest model of buses. The latest model of buses. And on this company, you board that bus, you get a welcome snack. There is a welcome snack on boarding. On these long distance routes, there are regular sightseeing stops. There are regular sightseeing stops. And on this bus company, there is no dereva simamisha nataka kuendesha. No, there are in-bus cloakrooms. There are in-bus cloakrooms. Because it's a long distance thing. This bus company will charge only 10% higher fare than normal buses. This bus company will charge 10% higher fare than normal bus companies. I will repeat those details because these are details that are important to Mr. Kalombo. Mr. Kalombo. It's a new bus company yet to be launched. Yeah, number two, it is to ply all major long distance routes in East Africa. This bus company has the latest model of buses. I'm giving you the details that will help you to complete the task. There is a welcome snack on boarding the bus. A welcome snack on boarding the bus. There are regular sightseeing stops. There are regular sightseeing stops. If you're not listening, you won't be able to complete the task. So the ones who are listening, tuendelee. There are in-bus cloakrooms. In-bus cloakrooms. And 10% higher fare than normal buses flying the same routes. Your target audience is C2D, 25 years plus. That's your target audience. They are urban workers, small-scale traders, and students. Urban workers, small-scale traders, like the hawkers who've been clogging up the streets of Nairobi, and students. They mainly travel by matatu or other bus companies. Most are not happy with the services they can afford. Most are not happy with the services they can afford. And they mainly speak Swahili or local language. They are mainly Swahili or local language speakers. That is your target audience. Your target audience, I will repeat, they are C2D, 25 years plus. Yeah? That's the demographic, C2D. You have A, B, C, D, C, C2 and D. There's C1, C2. This is C2D. You have the task before you, create a brand name for the company, create a launch 30-second radio commercial, air the commercial on our PA system. Your peers in the audience will judge the radio commercial you create and determine if your team wins a prize. Had pangad, mimi nimeandikwa tu, sijui ni gift bag ngapi, sijui ni umbrella ngapi. And the name you have picked is? And the winner, I see there is no attention here. No, just announce. The winner is G4S. Group for Security. No, the name of the person. And the name is Grace Wachira. Nice. And you can peck Mr. Tias too. He's the one who picked your name. He's the one who picked your name. You have to peck him and give him a big hug. One more. Okay, I think we're going to pick all three that are remaining now to save on time. Pick another one. No, we're just to make it faster. To make it faster. That's the second one. Kuna bag ingine na umbrella, hizo zingine nimeshika. So ni mbili. Wait, which order were they picked in? This was the first one, eh? This was the first one. Yeah? Well, oh, wait. They may not be here. If they're not here, we might have we redraw. Okay, so we'll go for the full name. J. Korea. Your mic ingine iko wapi? Jerry's prize is a beautiful bag from the East African and an umbrella. This one gets dinner for two at Nyama Choma Ranch. This goes to Citizen. To David Roy Katiku. His prize, I am holding it in my hand. Well, I decided to give it to you. I thought we'll send it to you for the mail. This is dinner for two at Nyama Choma Ranch. Where are you going? You don't want it? Yaani umekula umeshiba utaki kufikiria mambo ya na kesho. Wait, the prize here is a weekend for two. Huh? 2 nights for two at the Holiday Inn. 2 nights for two at the Holiday Inn. So you better hope that's your card. Well, exactly. And this last one goes to Tropical Group. Mr. Waruru. Mr. Waruru, you could present our main prize. Kalombo wants to start mass action at today's rigging. It is 2 nights for two at Holiday Inn. Thank you very much.
Nikisafiri na basi ya slide. Nikisafiri na lala na kula kwa basi ya slide. Nikisafiri na save dala na basi ya slide. Nikifika na say asante basi ya slide. Slide ndio basi ile ya ajabu. Jina la basi yetu inaitwa Grand Coalition Bus Company. Kampuni ya basi ya Grand Coalition sasa inakupa mapokezi ya juu. Tunasafiri katika miji zote za Afrika Mashariki na tunakupa fursa ya kuwa mtalii katika sehemu hizi zote. Uwe mwanafunzi, mfanyabiashara, wa rika yote au cheti chochote, tutakushughulikia sisi. Kwa safari poa, njia zako zote tumeshazitimiza. Safiri na Grand Coalition leo, ujienjoy.
I'd like my number one to come.